Good morning, Dr. Peters.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing awesome. We're just patiently waiting for everyone to get started.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm back. Hey, Rob. Hey, Robin. Dr. Dr. Peters, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you this morning?
I am doing very well. Thank you.
Excellent.
Welcome back.
Yeah, glad to be back.
They were
I was-
they were overachievers earlier, Dr. Peters. They were here at 9 o'clock. So they're
Well, I was hoping to be there too, but I had a 9 o'clock that popped up that, of course, ran long. So I'm actually still in the hotel. So I was just like, oh, well, I plan to be in person, but
not you
that's
understood.
just life. So
It all worked out then.
it did. So virtual is a good option too. So
Welcome back, Dr. Seabrooks.
Thank you. Good to see you. And we were not overachievers. We got the wrong time. And so
Thank you for clarifying.
and some of us, I'm not gonna tell on myself, was even late then. So if you want us to be on time, tell us an hour early.
That's right. That's right.
We were just following directions, huh, Joe?
Yes, ma'am, as best I could.
Looks like there's a good crowd in the room.
How you doing, Catherine? You took over my string.
I'm doing well, Kevin. How about yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. I always do pretty good at least on a Friday.
You and me. I used to
saw
get more
Rhonda.
work done on Fridays. The students weren't on campus much. So,
Yeah, it's a lot quieter on Fridays.
mhm.
Yes, I'm here, Kevin. It's good to see
Rhonda,
you.
did you get my note disappointing you?
I did. Did you get my picture I returned?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I returned our picture.
Oh,
It is massive. Anyway, I'm in compliance, so, and you are too.
Ready. Good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Olga Valerian, and I'm the chair to the Texas High Education Coordinator Board, Workforce Education Core Manual Advisory Committee. I would like, right now is 10 o'clock on January 27, 2023. I call the order to this meeting to start. Please be aware that this meeting is recorded over internet. For those that are present, I will call, first of all, to call the roll to the names. Please say your name, your institution, and what role that you are playing in your own institution. After that, we are going to the people is present and joining us over Zoom. Good morning to those that are over there. And we are going to start with my right hand. Please go ahead.
Dr. Leslie Keeling Olson, Temple College, Director of Perkins Grants.
Good morning. I'm Joe Arrington from McLennan Community College in Waco. I serve as Division Chair for Human Services and Education Programs. Good morning. I'm Jeff Parks. Can you hear me? Hear me? No? There it is. Okay. Good morning. I'm Jeff Parks from Alvin Community College. I'm the Dean of Technical Programs and Interim Dean of Continuing Education and Workforce Development.
Good morning, colleagues. Tina Jackson, Assistant Commissioner, Workforce Education.
Good morning. I'm Dwayne Shaw from Kilgore College. I'm the Dean of Public Services and Industrial Technologies.
Good morning. My name is Olga Valerio, El Paso Community College. I'm the Dean from the Advanced Technology Center.
Hello, I'm Dwayne Hiller from the Higher Education Coordinating Board. I'm Program Director in Community Career and Technical Education.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Austin Community College. I'm Dr. Gretchen Reel. I'm the Associate Vice Chancellor for Workforce Education here at Austin Community College.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Sarah Lozano from South Texas College. I serve as the Dean for Business, Public Safety, and Technology.
Good morning. I'm Andrew Gregory. I serve as the Interim Department Chair for Business and Accounting at College of the Mainland.
For this, they are joining by Zoom. I'm going to call your name, and I would like that you introduce by yourselves. Catherine.
Catherine O'Brien, I am the consultant for the Perkins Leadership Grant.
Robin.
Rob Blair. Yeah, Rob Blair, Dean of Technical Education, South Plains College.
Dr. Robin.
Good morning. I'm Robin Garrett. I'm the Deputy Chancellor of Academic and Student Success at Central Texas College.
Thank you so much. Rhonda.
Good morning. I'm Rhonda Dozier. I'm with Texarkana College. I'm currently serving in the role as a program coordinator, formerly Dean of Workforce, Community and Business Education, and Carl Perkins Grant Director. I also serve on the WECM Revisions Grant with Dr. Leslie Keeling Olson and Catherine O'Brien.
Thank you. Tanisha.
Good morning. My name is Tanisha Shorter-Lott. I am the Program Director at the Coordinating Board, and I am in the area of Community and Technical Colleges.
Terry.
Good morning. I'm Terry Nix from Howard College, and I am in the role of CTE Division Chair, retired Dean, so I'm in the classroom full-time.
Thank you so much. Mary? No there. Linda.
Good morning. I'm Linda Earwood, and I'm the Program Director for the nursing program here at Del Mar College and the Texas Association Dean and Directors President at this time.
Thank you so much. Joe.
Good morning. I'm Joe Seabrooks, and I serve in the President's Office at the Dallas College Cedar Valley campus.
Thank you. Kevin.
Good morning. I'm Kevin Morris, Dean of Business and Technology at San Jacinto College, our South Campus.
And finally, but not the last one, it is Miss. It's hard for me to see from here. What is that? Linda? Tara.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tara Peters. I'm the Executive Director of Workforce, Career, and Technical Education at Navarro College.
Thank you so much, Ms. Tara. And now we have some kind of housekeeping that Mr. Dwayne Hiller, we are going to do it for us. Thank you so much.
Good morning. First, I'd like to repeat that this meeting is taking place via video conference, and it's also being broadcast and recorded on the internet. We ask that you keep your cameras on at all times, which is required by the Open Meetings Act. We'll be using gallery view to make sure that there is a quorum present in the room at all times. Please use the raise your hand feature if you need to speak and wait to be identified by the chair. If you're in the room, tap the button at the base of the mic and you'll see the green light to turn your microphone on. State your name when you are speaking, and when you're finished, please mute your microphone again by pressing the button so that the green light is off. We will be taking voice votes unless there is any uncertainty, in which case we will need to take a roll call vote. And just as a general reminder, The advisory committee is serving a statewide purpose, and we are not here to represent a particular institution or group of institutions, although our hope is that the committee's actions will benefit all institutions in Texas. I'll now return you to our agenda.
Thank you so much. I would like to, Ms. Minder, I think so we forgot some kind of introduction that we have it here at the bottom. We have Ms. Mindy and Ms. Vanessa. I would like that you introduce by yourself, and then everybody here present. I would like the Texas High Coordinator Board, Ms. Mindy, introduce to our guest speaker. Well, no guest speaker, our most, the person is always, cheering for us, especially for the workforce programs. Ms. Mindy, would you mind to introduce to Dr. Tina Jackson, please?
Yes, good morning. As I introduce Dr. Jackson, I would like to acknowledge other staff of the coordinating board who are here with us today. We have, you've met Mr. Hiller. We have Vanessa Malo, who will give an update on our work-based learning initiative. We have Stephanie Perkins, who is in the CTC department and who is all things capable within that department. I would like to introduce Ms. Nikki Jenkins, who is with our our private post-secondary institutions. And she's here to join us to assist with the meeting. This said, let me please introduce, and I'm very pleased to introduce, the Assistant Commissioner for Workforce Education with the Higher Education Coordinating Board, Dr. Tina Jackson, will give the welcome and we'll give a little update about our activities in Workforce Education Division.
Good morning, colleagues. And Mindy, thank you so much for that introduction and all your kind words. Oh, there's so much going on in workforce education. I don't even know where to begin. But before I even start, I want to thank ACC's team, all of the IT support they provided. I know Sky is leading that initiative, so thank you so much for the great work. And also my colleague, Gretchen Reel. Thank you so much, Dr. Reel, for allowing us to come here and to be in this space as we transition into our new building that is very lovely, but you know how it is when you move. There's lots of different things that you have to get set up. So we're grateful for our colleagues at ACC who are allowing us to host
We're
here.
happy to have you here. Thanks for coming.
Yes, yes. So I will go ahead and talk a little bit, colleagues, about the work we're engaged in. And we are in session. There's a lot of excitement around that, as you all are aware of. And we are definitely continuing to talk about building a talent-strong Texas. Next slide, please. So as you all are aware of, we have 3 areas that we're focusing in to make sure that we reach goals that are critical for the state as far as building a pipeline to get our students, our Texans, educated and equipped for these great opportunities across the state. So as you can see here, attainment is one of our goals. Credential of value is another goal that we have, and then research. And so we have been talking a lot about this. We started talking about this last spring, and we are continuing as we get into the work that's happening at the legislative sessions. We're continuing to talk about the importance of these 3 goals. Next slide, please. So just to talk a little bit further about those goals, if I had one way to describe attainment and how it looks different, we are really reaching out to a broader population of Texans. We knew that we had to reach our younger adults, but now we're also reaching out to our returning students who may have been out of school for years, who may have been in the work field and have definitely a need to reskill and upskill. So as we get into this new year and this new legislative session, definitely as we move forward, we are talking a lot about the 35 to 64-year-old group and how can we make sure that as we talk about building a talent-strong Texas, we consider their unique needs. We're also focusing in on credential of value. And what are those credentials? What do they look like? And how can we make sure moving forward that we are targeting the right credentials across the state, regionally speaking? And then last but not least, the importance of research and development. You know, as we do this work, we know it's critical that we continue to do research so that as we're doing the work of really strengthening the talent pipeline, we're aware of any ways we need to adjust, any things that we need to do to get a larger population of our Texans educated and trained for jobs. Next slide, please. So there's goals that we have attached to each goal as far as numbers that we want to reach. And as you can see here, we have suggested what those are. You know, I also want to share that another piece to the puzzle is making sure that our students don't walk away with a lot of debt. Something that we've been talking about a lot, especially as you talk about returning adults who have children and who have other responsibilities outside of receiving a new degree or a new certificate. So we would really, as we move forward, colleagues, we really want to continue to stress the importance of students not receiving their degrees and then having a large bill that they're not able to pay and they end up going into default. This is an important piece that the commissioner has talked about a lot. So we want to make sure that as we move forward, you all are aware of how serious we are about that. Next slide, please. And to talk a little bit more about some of the challenges of our work, we all know that not only have we seen things increase as far as housing and transportation, but just across the board for a student, the cost of attendance is growing. And when you have students who have don't have a lot of income, this is a challenge. So as we move forward to have conversations with our legislators, we're talking about room and board, tuition and fees, childcare, which is critical. And wow, I was in a meeting yesterday, colleagues, and I heard about the rising cost of childcare, and it almost brought tears to my eyes because I thought about the students that we're serving. And, you know, even for working adults, it's expensive. But imagine if you are living under poverty levels and you have to make a choice between childcare or going to school. And so as we move forward, this is really near and dear to, I think, not only my heart, but a lot of educators who understand the population that we're serving. Next slide, please. So another piece to the puzzle is making sure that as we move forward, we're aware of how diverse our community really has become. Over the past 10 years, 95% of the growth that we've seen in the great state of Texas has been with people of color. So as we plan to do things with workforce education, as we reskill and upskill, we have to keep that in mind. And I'm excited to be a part of that work. I'm excited that it's actually a part of our strategic priorities. Next slide, please. This is to just share with you all what request we are putting in front of our legislators currently. And I think that it's critical to really help with the financial aid needs that we have for the state. So as you can see here, we're requesting $153 million to assist with the work of enrolling students, helping students to get those post-secondary credentials of value, and to really bring together and bridge that gap that we see, especially with our adult students who have so many other expenses along with needing to attend school. Next slide, please. I thought it would be nice just to talk, and this is going to be very brief, but to talk about some of the work that we did over the past 2 years with GEAR. It feels like it's been a while, but it really hasn't. You know, the pandemic came and now we're in 2023. But wow, colleagues, thank you all for the great work that you did with us collectively. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for calling us and checking in and really helping us to roll out over about $90 million worth of support across the state around the government emergency education relief funds. And as you can see here by this slide, there were a lot of different and unique programs that we were able to do because of the work that because of the money that we received from the federal government. And we're excited about how that has helped us to move forward. Next slide, please. And so one of the programs that's still running, and we're excited we're able to still do this, is the TRUE program. And there's ARPA funding that has supported this work. You know, what's great about TRUE, which is Texas Reskilling and Upskilling Education, is that there are opportunities for institutions to help with scaling programs that they've already started, possibly providing more equipment if they're able to. I know we had some supply chain problems originally, but initially when we started this work, but the goal is to really make sure that if they're able to get equipment for some of their programs, that's happening, and we've heard great stories. We know that the other important piece to this was financial aid for those students that typically wouldn't be in college without it. So we're excited about that. And we're also excited about the possibility of really partnering up. Many institutions partnered up with other institutions. So the possibilities of continuing that type of collaboration, consortium efforts across the state has been really great. Next slide, please. Work-based learning. Well, I'm not going to stay here long because my colleague is in the room and I know that she's going to share a lot, but I will say that we were excited that we were able to provide $5 million during the GEAR funding work to really focus in on apprenticeships and internships, paid apprenticeships and internships. And the hope is to continue to move that forward. So I'll just leave it at that and let Vanessa handle talking more intimately about that. Next slide, please. I'm going to also say you can forward that one, Stephanie, and I'll allow Vanessa to chat about that. So another thing that we did over this past year in 22 was we had about 10 listening sessions that focused in on what we need to do as a state to make sure that moving forward, we're providing more access to students. We are providing more engagement with our K-12 partners so that we're aware of what our industry partners really need from us, regionally speaking. And we had legislators in the room, we had employers in the room, we had presidents and chancellors in the room, we had practitioners in the room. A nice, diverse population of people were engaged in listening sessions, colleagues across the state. I'm sure some of you were even engaged in those conversations, so thank you for that. Next slide, please. And this was really all about understanding what the unique needs are for our state, looking at some of the needs that are different for our smaller and rural colleges, and really addressing how we can support and strengthen those colleges. So we're still in the process of some of this work, but I definitely wanted to share with you that this happened over the course of the last year. And now we're at a place where we are beginning to have more conversations about actually implementing a plan. Next slide, please. So I'm going to talk a little bit about community college finance. You know, this is a hot topic, right? I'm looking at all my colleagues shaking their head around the table. This is very hot, and you know, I'm excited about it. And I think the biggest piece that I'm excited about, colleagues, is that we are collectively as a group in higher ed having conversations about how to help to shift the formula funding to support workforce education. And this has been a really important conversation, lots of players involved. And I think because we've had so many people involved, we're going to be extremely successful. Next slide, please. So this is just a quote that basically says it all. We know that we need to get prepared, colleagues. We need to get more Texans with post-secondary credentials. So we are focused in on this, and this is why our funding has to also support what we've been talking about in building a talent strong Texas. Next slide, please. With that being said, you know, the commission that came together, the Texas Commission on Community College Finance, has done a great job of putting together a report. If you have not seen that report, I want to highly suggest that you check that out. I do have a link to this PowerPoint slide set at the end of it with a link directly to that PDF. So I would strongly recommend anyone listening to me, if you haven't had a chance to review it, check it out. It's a very complete report with recommendations that really will allow us to begin this work of implementation. Next slide, please. So here are the members that were a part of the Texas Community College Finance Commission. We have great leaders that were engaged and are still engaged in this work. And as we move forward, I see nothing but positive things coming out of the work that the commissioner has been involved in, that the chairman, Woody Hunt, has been leading. And we've been definitely, as the coordinating board, we've been connecting sometimes on a daily basis to talk about how to make sure we're supportive and we're all on task with this work. Next slide, please. So this is just to share with you where the work began last year. There was a community college needs opportunity listening group that was connected to this work. We had Jobs for the Future contracted to help us with a portion of the work. And it was a great thing because they were able to help us to narrow down some specific goals to reach for the report. Next slide, please. It's okay. And this is just to show you where engagement took place with the Community College Finance Group, and then also to share with you when the meetings actually happened across the state, because we know Texas is large enough that we need to actually visit each region. And so that was done, and it was done very well. Next slide, please. You know, just to kind of wrap up a little bit about where we're at today, we're excited to report that we're seeing an enrollment increase across the state, which is great. And as you all know, it was challenging in 2020. We saw numbers really go down a lot. And so to see the shift is providing a lot of hope for us, and we will have more data as we get more into the new year. We are actually talking internally about that now. Next slide, please. I just wanted to share with you all that on this slide deck, there is a link right below my email, and I'd strongly suggest you all to check that out if you weren't able to already review it, or maybe send it to a colleague or members of your team. And I am here to answer any questions if you have any. We are definitely doing a lot of things across the state collectively with workforce education. And the hope is, as we move forward to get more into February and March, we'll have more to share out about where we see this legislative session going. And I will end with that. Any questions?
Yes, I just have a comment, Dr. Jackson. I'm so excited to see how much work have you been doing in your side, and to see how do you try to help that students, the principle that we are here working and we are for them. I'm so excited to see all the money is coming. How are you working with the formula? Because it's hurt, especially to our certification of completion. And then if we can be able to pass and increase the financial aid for those students, it's going to be tremendously a help for them, especially because you say childcare. Childcare is getting expensive every single day, especially for those they are coming back, they are already parents, and they wanted to return and have a better life for those they love and for the sons and the kids that they have it. I very excited, and I have a lot of hope that we can make a significant change in that area. And obviously for the apprenticeship, but I will be away from Ms. Vanessa to talk a little bit about that. But I'm so excited to hear that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And you know, it's just a joy to do this work. And then when I get to meet students, when I get that treat, it reminds me of why we do the work. As a former professor myself and someone who was on the ground, you know, oftentimes I miss the students, but being able to go around the state and really have those conversations just reminds me, and I'm sure reminds you all, why we are being so intentional about building a talent strong Texas.
Thank you so much for your presentation.
Yep.
Any comments or questions?
Just a quick question. Hey, Dr. Jackson, this is Joe in Dallas. Thank you so
Hey.
much. Hey, thank you so much for that incredible update. Just a quick question. In the work that you all are doing at the coordinating board, any signs of industry credentials that are a higher priority that you're seeing than maybe others, or are we equally across the board needing to double down on credentials?
So we have areas that we know are very high value or in demand. But what I found, Dr. Seabrooks, is regionally speaking, is what we have to really focus in on. We're working on right now as we speak, sharing more details about what a credential of value looks like. But I would say just across the board, like the data that we receive from TWC is pretty accurate about like what's needed in each region. So that's what I would lend to as far as like which areas our institutions should focus on.
Great, thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you.
And I have another question in regards to this one. If we are talking about credentials, have you been thinking also about to substitute one of the credentials? Let's say, for example, manufacturing. If this person is already skilling in robotics or microcontrollers, let's say, and then this student also have a micro credential that make this person an expert already, that we have something thinking about maybe we can substitute this credential for that course, and then the student can move faster to that different level. Maybe will be really good not to do like the new one online courses, I forgot how they call, but I think so we should be looking. Are you thinking about that?
So are you referring to prior learning assessment?
Yes.
Okay.
Like
yes.
a prior.
Yes. Yeah. So we are talking about that a lot. I come from, some of y'all know this, I come from the great state of Minnesota where we did a lot of that work. And I do think it's important, very important, especially with our military population where they've been trained and they have a lot of skills that we should be able to figure out a way to give them credit for that. So, and I know there are many institutions doing it. I know I'm looking at my colleague, Dr. Gretchen Reel, who we work together at Dallas. And we know this work is very important.
Okay, thank you. Another comment or question for Dr. Tina Jackson?
I'd like to respond. I think we're all SACS schools, and SACS has requires that we have a policy around credit for prior learning. And so the policy can be that you don't do it, but I would argue that you need a robust policy and process for students to bring in a variety of prior learning. And it can be anything from credits earned at another institution to credentials of value and those kind of things. And that's how we at ACC have structured our credit for prior learning policy. And I'd be happy to help anybody with that. But I think that's a really key piece that SACS enables us to do.
Definitely.
Comment or question? Before we move to another item, I would like to introduce, would you mind to say your name and your institution and what is your role, please?
Oh, yes, thank you. My name is Will Fanning. I'm here representing TACTI and Dean for Academic Success from Northeast Lakeview College, one of the Alamo colleges.
Thank you so much, Will. Now we are going to move it to the next item in our agenda. Consideration and possible action to approve minutes from the September 16, 2022 WECM committee meeting. You have your...
Madam Chair, I would like to present a change or a correction to the minutes on the second page under professional organizational updates. The title for the TACTI conference, that's the title from last year's conference. If That needs to be changed to innovate, integrate, and motivate. And also, it will be held March the 29th through the 31st, and the minutes say in April. So
Mind to tell us the dates again? Is March?
March the 29th through the 31st.
Thank you so much, Dwayne. Another comment on those meetings?
Just a quick question. So the names highlighted just represent the newest members, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. I assume so.
It was
Another concern? When I have an motion to approve the minutes?
Madam Chair, this is Jeff Parks. I would like to make a motion to accept the minutes as presented with revisions.
I'll second.
Now, those in favor, please testify aye.
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 Motion approved and pass. Item number 3. Public testimony related to the WECM committee. Public testimony related to the WECM committee.
there was nobody registering to public testimony.
Don't receive any public testimony. I will be called to pass this item. To testify for this item, please move to the second. Yeah, we're going to do this next one. Please, let's go to move to the next item. Item number 4.
And I'm Mindy Nobles, Director Community and Technical Colleges. I will ask you to give your attention to 2 coordinating board updates. First, we have Tanisha Shorter-Lott, who will give an update on the agency's post-secondary Perkins program. Now, before we give that update, Tanisha, I want to acknowledge that Tanisha is stepping into a departmental leadership position within community and technical colleges. Dr. Stephanie Perkins will be leaving us toward the 1st of February for a position with Advanced CTE, a national position with Advanced CTE. We cannot replace Chef Stephanie, whose service during her 4 years with the agency, is it? 4 years with the agency, has been impeccable. However, we have a very capable Tanisha Shorter-Lott stepping into Stephanie's role as operational lead for the Perkins program and as fiscal lead for the program. And with that, I will introduce Tanisha Shorter-Lott to give the Perkins update.
Thank you, Mindy. To continue on with that announcement that Mindy just mentioned, an open position has been posted and it will close February 6th. Fiscal year 23 reallocation funds have been calculated and correspondences have been sent to all community colleges. And as we continue to prepare for fiscal year 2024, RFA updates are underway for our basic grant, our Perkins Equitable Access and Opportunity Program, PEOP, and leadership grants. Anticipated release date for the FY24 PEOP RFA is February 3rd. February 8th, our area will host a PEOP webinar where attendees will learn about any changes for the FY24 PEOP program. February 22nd and 23rd, we will have a leadership convening where this webinar will showcase current Perkins leadership and PEOP projects and provide an update on each project's activities. In March, we will host a leadership RFA webinar where attendees will learn about any changes for the FY24 Leadership Grant Program. And in June, our area will host a basic RFA webinar training where attendees will learn about any changes for the FY24 basic grants. If there are no further questions, that ends our Perkins update.
Are there any questions? Okay, very good. Next, please allow me to introduce Vanessa Malo. I'm trying to remember whether I have doctor in front of your name, not quite yet.
Almost next year.
Almost, okay. Vanessa Malo, who will give you an update on the Coordinating Board's TextWorks initiative and its internship programs. Vanessa?
Yes, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Can everybody hear me okay? Think so? Okay, fantastic. Appreciate your time today. I just wanted to share a little bit about what is going on with the TexasWorks internship program. I had the pleasure of presenting to you at the last meeting the details of that program and the logistics, and so just wanted to refresh a little bit that we are still working on scaling the TexasWorks program. As a reminder, these are paid internships opportunities for our students, and fantastic, ample amount of funding that we have for a few years, if not longer. And we love to work with you to be able to continue to partner and be able to serve our students in our community. We have probably about 15 positions posted currently on the Texas Internship Challenge site, and we're looking to continue to grow that over time. We also have been working in collaboration with the Texas Workforce Commission and co-hosting what's called the Texas Interns Unite Conference Series. And so we will be hosting about 5 or 6 conference series between February and November, if not maybe more, around the state of Texas. And these conferences are in person, also virtual, and they are free to all students and institutions. Students and institutions and employers can attend these conferences. There'll be keynote speakers, opportunities to network, but most importantly, an opportunity for us to come to the same platform and converse about work-based learning in general, how it is defined, looking forward opportunities, and gathering insight and ideas for those of us who are in leadership roles to be able to move the needle forward and success for our students. So we hope that you will be able to join us in the spring and summer and the next fall. We'll send that information out to you so that you have those dates and locations. If you are interested in partnering with us for the TexasWorks internship program, we'd love to also continue that conversation. We are going to continue to scale apprenticeships across the state in conjunction with the efforts that Texas Workforce Commission has done, and also all of our Texas institutions have been working on together. And we look forward to more exciting opportunities. So please reach out if there's any questions or if you'd like to discuss any of these opportunities together.
And thank you, Vanessa. Are there questions among the committee for Vanessa regarding TextWorks and internships program?
Yes, ma'am. Dwayne Shaw, I do have a question. I know you said you're going to send the information out to us. How are the community colleges going to be responsible for getting that information out to their local industry folks? You said this is going to be kind of a meeting of the minds. I was kind of wondering how the rest of those folks are potentially going to be notified about these potential meetings.
Yes, so Texas Workforce Commission actually has an email notification going out to all of our Texas institutions. We are as well, so it's really word of mouth. As much as possible, just spread the word. It's a free opportunity. And then anyone that we work with directly, project directors, I oversee the work study student mentorship program also, so the financial directors and project leads have been spreading the word to their students and to their colleagues. So that is how we're working now. In the future, we'll probably have another system.
Okay, no, thank you. That's great.
Any other questions for Vanessa?
Yes, Vanessa, I was so interested about what Dr. Tina Jackson talked about the apprenticeships. Do you know that you have something to tell us about the apprenticeship? Because we are talking about internships, but internship is kind of a little different to the apprenticeship. Do you want it to look the similar model with the internships, or what is the idea?
So I think lessons learned over the last couple of years is that they are uniquely different, and that's okay, right? And the nice opportunity for that is that there's a right foot for everybody, not a right foot, but a right fit for everybody, and taking the right foot forward, right? So we are looking at trying to scale apprenticeship opportunities. We're looking at different programming ideas and funding opportunities over this next legislative session, but also over the next couple of years. Now, we know that the Texas Workforce Commission has a robust apprenticeship program and registration process. They've been very successful in that. We've been working collaboratively with them. And so that's what that looks like. We're not wanting to have internships and apprenticeships models to be exactly the same. They should continue to be different. But we do want to make sure that we are consistent in our efforts, making sure that they're of quality and that they're providing the best opportunities possible for our students and our community and who we're serving, right? So those are the conversations that we're having.
And I have another question regarding to the internships, the apprenticeships. Do you know, when we have any students that they graduated from different kind of programs, let's say electrical, they can go into the apprenticeship for the electrical. But they have, first of all, to go from one of the community colleges and then join to the apprenticeship. It will be a way to go, like Dr. Tina Jackson say, Minnesota, because I saw this one in Minnesota. The apprenticeship, one of the apprenticeships in Minnesota, they do the reverse. They took some programs, so they took the certification of completion on associate degree in electrical. The apprenticeship give it to them some kind of years already, because apprenticeship does 5 years for electrical. Then they give it to them certain education. But I notice here in Texas, it's not happening. I mean, I would like to see, because I mean, we prepare students in community college very well-rounded, with course, with safety, who's when they doing the apprenticeships. And I think so they do algebra, they do ethical courses, business courses, etc. Then I strongly believe it, that apprenticeship to be considered our students graduated from community college, to give it to them at least 1 or 2 years, because they are not taking any student that is green. They are not taking them from the middle to the street. They already have an education. However, in Texas, apprenticeship, they want it, that we provide to them certain credits because they went to the apprenticeship. But I think so it has to be a win-win situation. It will be a way in the future. Can we talk to the apprenticeship to see this win-win situation and see our students from community college to receiving certain number to the years to expedite to the apprenticeship? I will be to see in the future, in my dreams, to see like they do in Minnesota. The electricians in Minnesota are doing that one already.
I think that other states have been able to set great examples for us, right? And we need to continue to live and learn and grow from that. So I'm sure there are opportunities. I think it's a matter of us coming to the table together, writing down these ideas and determining how it fits in what we currently have. And then if it doesn't, then what can we do to grow from there within the what's eligible or what's allowable, right? Because I know apprenticeship has particular processes to be respected. So all of that to say is that there should be opportunities to be able to grow and maybe evolve a little here. We just have to figure out what the logistics are and go from there.
I can send it to you, the contacts from the community college and how they do it. And I think so it will be really nice to start from there and to check it out. Because, it's kind of frustrating for me, the students, the plumbers, the electricians, the welders, they have 2 years, an associate degree or certification or completion, 1 year or 1 year and a half. And then they have to start since the beginning with the apprenticeship. It is kind of frustrating for them. It's even for the students. I mean, this is something that has to be solved.
And these are the things that sometimes we have hidden barriers that we don't realize. I mean, the good thing is that we've been able to create a strong workforce, work-based learning foundation. So we have that. We know that it's successful. We know that it serves our students appropriately. So now it's an opportunity to be able to scale and expand and create maybe layers to that. So I think if we could start with having, conversations on living and learning from other states and other opportunities, and then who knows, we can design something from there.
And I will just add, I'm not sure if you may have already said this, I had to walk out for a call. We're working very closely with the Texas Workforce Commission. We've already had a meeting with them this year to talk about expanding our opportunities with apprenticeships. We know with our adult learner This has to happen. So we are trying to be very strategic and look at what are we currently doing and how can we provide more support in that area. So I just wanted you to know that. And we actually have, I don't know when they are because but we have meetings scheduled to follow up the whole year during the session and after the session to really be intentional about working collaboratively to provide more apprenticeship opportunities. So thanks to Vanessa for leading that work. You know, it's very important, and we know with our adult learners, we have to do that.
I will be very sure to send it to you no later than next week, the information. That way, when you have your next meeting with them, that you have something to start, you know, like you say, go by examples. We have to do that. We have to do that to change from adult learners. Yeah, we have to do it. Thank you.
Other questions for Vanessa?
Yes. This is Joe again from Dallas. I have to give you kudos on the new website. It is absolutely amazing and very user friendly. Just curious to know, most of our institutions are large employers in our region. Are our institutions eligible as employers to host internships?
So unfortunately for Texas Work specifically, they are not.
Okay.
We are looking, a part of that scaling aspect is considering those factors. We had the work-based learning grant, which was GEAR funded, and that was kind of our test period to see the needs of our institutions, how it worked, and what are some areas that we need to grow from. So that was great. That created the foundation for future work with institutions and funding opportunities possibly. For now, though, Texas Works, the funding goes directly to the employers. Employers have an agreement with the THECB, right? But what can occur is that if you have internship programs at your institutions and you're working with specific employers, those employers could actually go through the selection process with us, which is pretty straightforward. It's just a simple, do you have the capacity to support this program kind of thing? And become an official Texas Works employer, and then the funding and the timesheets, all of that would be handled through the employer, not the institution. So that's something that could work over the next couple of years in the meantime until other alternatives occur. But that's how we're built structurally now.
Yep. So I appreciate that. One thing I will share though, that we as an industry also are struggling with talent in the classroom and forward-facing positions that serve students. And so at some point, for us to be able to continue the work that we do, we need to make sure we have strong pathways to employment, to professions, so we can support the state. And so I'm really finding it difficult in some of our CTE areas to find folks, which is really starting to create a bottleneck with producing credentials. And so, you know, again, I know that that's an industry problem for us, and I don't want to be too self-serving, but for us to be able to support our state, you know, we have to be fully functioning also.
Yeah, Dr. Seaberg says probably something that we don't necessarily take enough time to consider. And so I'm glad that you brought it up because as an employer, right, we need more professors and educators to be able to help move our students forward. Otherwise, it becomes very challenging, right?
Yes,
so I'm glad that you brought that to the table. And as we continue to scale Texas Works or create branches of Texas Works, these are things that we'll make sure we consider as funding opportunities come our way. So thank you for that.
I appreciate that, but could my colleagues chime in, or because I don't want to make sure maybe I'm just the unlucky one that can't find time. Are you all seeing the same issues?
Okay.
Okay.
And just to add to that, I mean, not just in the instructional ranks, right? So we have a huge pinch point with certified advisors at our campuses where we bring individuals in, we train them, we get them certified, and then all of my lovely colleagues take them from us, right? And they scatter across the state, and which is wonderful, right? But at the same time, I think we all are struggling with some of those other positions as well.
The retention of it as well.
And Joe Arrington from McLean Community College. Instructional side, we totally get that. But the support staff side is also where there's a dearth of available people, where those skills can be trained in and worked, and that may be a fodder field for this if you bring colleges in as a training location.
And we also, colleagues, have been talking about the possibility of figuring out language that would include institutions being able to be sites, which we know is a huge barrier for our program right now. Just to be really honest, the employers, the process that we have to put them through, they're not used to it, and in many cases, they just don't have the staff to do that type of work. So this is one of the challenges of the work, and we are talking about this.
I have a comment from the internships. You know, when the college started to talk, many ideas came to my mind. For the internships, have you been thinking to have a mentors in the industry? That way that you have some kind of mentor in the institutions, and that they are going to follow with the students that are going for the internship, to have a one-on-one mentor. Maybe that one will help them to see that we are successful in the internship, and then only that one, the industrial partners can be so happy, and then they can be open the doors for us.
Yes, that's a great idea. If we can connect them with, partnering with our institution in that capacity, that'd be good. They are assigned a mentor through the employer. We created a framework of specific expectations to make sure that this was a quality experience. But having one at the institution would also be fantastic. So those are all things that we can discuss in partnering without the funding aspect. And we are often doing, that's a lot of these meetings is just kind of a natural, holistic process of bringing everybody together and working together. That's something we could do.
And let me tell you what I mentioned, one-to-one mentor. With the internship that we have in El Paso Community College, especially in the Advanced Technology Center, we have one-on-one mentor. That means we have one mentor, usually is the coordinator or another instructor from the discipline of the area that we have it. Then they are in constant communication with the mentor from the industry. Right. Then by the end, a student has to make a presentation. We have a date. All the students, they make a presentation from the industry in front to students, in front to the partners with the industry, and then everything is done in the site where they are doing the internship. That one is encouraged to the students, and also is encouraged to the industry to be part to this, having the new people that they wanted from the workforce. And then they train in the way that they wanted, and they can see that they are helping to the community. In other words, is to engage to our industrial partners is the key. And then we make we call industrial consortia. The industrial consortia is helping to do that. Presentation, we have by the end like a little banquet for the students, and it's amazing. You have to see how industry partners and community are so engaged. Maybe that one it will be something that you can implement in your internship.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, we'd love to be able to learn a little bit more of the vision of it and what's being done now, and see how we can best support.
I have the process on the papers. So you give me your email by the end, I will send it to you, all the papers that we have.
That'd be great. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Okay, then, and thank you, Vanessa, and thank you, Tanisha. This concludes the coordinating board update.
Thank you so much, Mindy, for all the things that you are doing in the Texas High Coordinated Board. It's always a pleasure. We were so engaged today with Vanessa, and then all the amazing things that is happening over there, guys. Item number 5, professional organization updates. We have a case representative. Takti?
Yes, thank you. We're excited to provide an update. Of most immediate import is our conference, which Mr. Shaw has shared in the minute update, is happening March 29th through 31st in Grapevine, Texas. The conference is entitled Innovate, Integrate, and Motivate this year. We're really excited to be relocating this year up to Grapevine. We maxed our attendance last year. We just didn't have any more space for folks to come and participate with us in the facility we were in. And so we've located a new facility that's going to allow us to continue to grow and continue to provide this needed information and these needed training opportunities to our CTE community. So we encourage everybody to share the information out and hope to see all of you there and participating with us. We also want to thank THECB for their support in helping this be successful, especially in all of the wonderful sessions, all of the information that they bring and they share with us at the conference. We're delighted to be struggling to find a place to slot everybody in to provide all that great information out. And so we're really looking forward to a great and growing conference this year. And again, encourage everybody to come out and participate with us.
Thank you so much, Phillips. Do you know, I'm astonished by the title that you give it to this year. I mean, I like it, innovate, envision, and all this guy. I really thinking to see that kind of conference, something very innovative, something that encourages all the institutions, because we wanted to have a vision, what is going to be for us in the future. And please register and then go to this amazing conference to TACTI. I can tell you they are amazing, especially if you are new in Texas or that you have a new role or you are joining the college in your institution, guys. Please try to go to TACTI and TASTE meetings. They are amazing. And then you're going to be learning a lot. That one is for sure. We have Takara.
Yeah, unfortunately, Gaston White could not make it today, and Conley Kelly from TASTE got called to another meeting. He might come in later in the meeting to give his update.
Thank you so much, Dwayne. Item number 6. Report the WECM. They told me that I had to be close to the microphone, and then go to the report to the WECM Renovation Grant Program. Leslie.
The WECM Renovation Grant started as a 2-year grant, and we are in the 1-year continuation this year. When we first started, we had a lot of retirements across the state, so we did not have a lot of facilitators. Currently, we have 18 individuals that can facilitate a WECM workshop, and we have 10 more individuals that are scheduled for training on February 10th. So that will bring us up to 28 individuals that would be available and can help us facilitate workshops. To provide you some specific numbers and conclusion off of the 2021-2023 academic year, in the spring of 2022, we covered 4 clusters, which came out to be 28 workshops and 45 rubrics. Of those, we had, beyond the 45 rubrics, there were 29 additional rubrics that were predominantly Model 2s being less than 5 institutions or 5 or less. And those Model 2s were referred to WECM comments. If you refer to page 9 in your packet, you will see our current schedule. So for the 2022-2023 academic year, we have 5 clusters that we will complete. You'll notice in there that the top and beginning clusters for October and November were actually smaller areas so that we could take care of them. We moved from Wednesdays to Fridays because we found that created less conflict for our instructional specialist. So far, we've completed 2 workshops, which are 3 rubrics. 3 Model 1s were not addressed, and 6 Model 2s were not covered. And again, all of those were contacted and referred to WECM comments. So if there is anything or individuals were not able to serve, it would create and start the trigger process with WECM AC. So that doesn't mean that it's completely gone and they have to wait 4 years. That trigger process would bring them back around and we would cover it accordingly. You'll notice that we have a workshop coming up in this February 24th. That also has already been adjusted accordingly after receiving the instructional specialist nomination. So it has been merged where we will cover CHEF, PSTR, and IFWA in one group, and then HAMG, FCTR, and RSTO So we will have 2 workshops on the 24th. Of that, again, we had 4 that are Model 2s. We only had 1 nomination, and so that individual and information about that will be disseminated, referring them to WECM comments. So coming up this summer, you'll notice on the very, very bottom, we went back and looked at our most successful workshops, and we found that if we were later in June, we tended to not have as many workshops. And in fact, the very end of June ended up with a significant amount of cancellations, not cancellations, but not enough nominations. So we've moved to the end of the semester, but before hopefully people are leaving for vacations. So you'll notice we'll cover Cluster 2, Architect and Construction, on May 17th, and then Cluster 3 on May 24th. So I will be contacting individuals and coordinating facilitations. And of course, Dwayne will be sending out calls for nomination for instructional specialists. We had 2 TACTI sessions ago, a WECM 101 pre-conference, and we had numerous individuals attend. This coming TACTI, we will actually have 2 sessions, but we have found that we need to provide some information on how WECM AC and WECM workshops work together now. And so I'm working with Dwayne Shaw, and we will be putting together those presentations. Of course, that is always in conjunction with Higher Education Coordinating Board. And then I would like to encourage any WECM AC members, if you're coming to TACTI, if you can come to those sessions so that they can put faces with the names and understand who the individuals are across the state that serve for WECM AC. Other than that, any questions, comments, or concerns about this grant project?
This is Dwayne Shaw. I'd like to make one comment. And Leslie and Rhonda and Catherine have been doing some amazing work. And if you go, as we are about to go through and look at the courses that have been updated, whenever you scroll through those, one of the things that I think is incredible is if you look at the dates at the bottom of some of these courses. Some of these haven't been updated since 2006. Okay, and if we've got an industry that we're training in that we haven't needed an update since 2006, I don't know that we should have been training in that area. So this leadership grant that Leslie is chairing for us and taking care of is really helping us get some things back up in the shape that it should be, in a shape that this committee, I believe, can be proud of. So thank you, Leslie, for the work.
And Leslie, I have a question. How we can help you to have expertise in the areas, because I know this is one of the problems that sometimes that you have it. What do you think so we can help us, like a WECM members, to help you that you don't suffering from people in the areas that they can be helping you to make this program move forward?
Both the Grant Steering Committee and the Coordinating Board have had numerous conversations about what sometimes we perceive to be the lack of instructional specialist nominations. Dwayne and Mindy and Tanisha have done, I think, a wonderful job of communicating to the academic chair, the academic provost across the state to encourage it. And we've seen an increase. So I think a lot of it was getting back into the processes of an instructional specialist nomination. Specifically to your question, how can you help? Keep reminding at your level meetings to look for those nominations, submit those nominations in a timely manner, and submit them almost as soon as possible. We have to time things accordingly. So the next set of instructional specialist nominations will go out right before spring break with a reminder right after spring break. And I know my provost, I think I heard sometimes she gets 400 emails a day. I personally would not want 400 emails. So I know that it's not intentional. I think they are so busy that sometimes it is something that they know they'll do, but it kind of gets lost in all of those other obviously important emails and priorities on their campuses.
Thank you so much. And we're very, very, very sure to share the information in my leadership to be waiting for the nomination before the spring break. And And I hope everybody in this committee will do the same to expedite this process. Like you say, sometimes the chancellor or the provost, they receive more to the 400 emails, I know that. And then, but it will be a way to have the specialists from your area. Thank you so much for the wonderful work. And I know it's so hard. It kind of complicated was for me in the beginning. And I don't know how do you handle, because it's a lot of information. I mean, but thank you so much for doing everything. Like Dwayne mentioned, we have some programs that never have been reviewed since 2006. And now we are talking at clean manufacturing. We are talking at HVAC. I saw that we have heating and ventilation here for May. And then we have been changing now. The new AC is changing now. And then we still with the old WECM. I mean, it's time to be there. Construction has been changing, and I think so we need to be aware and tell our institutions that, hey, hello, wake up, and then let's go to have somebody to go to represent our institutions. Thank you so much.
Thank you for letting me present this report. And on a final note, for the individuals that have served as instructional specialists, we'd like to say thank you. And I'd like to say thank you to this group. Y'all continue to help me learn and understand and make this a process that complements this committee.
So much. Another question or comment?
Yes, Madam Chair, this is Jeff Parks. Leslie, you guys have been doing great work. It's wonderful to see the dates changing as Dwayne talked about. One question that I have is I'm getting questions from faculty back on our campuses that have served on various committees on when the updates will actually be put into the database and how that is progressing, because we're working on college catalogs and people are looking to update. And so they're wondering where that's at. And so I just didn't know if that time frame has been sorted out.
Okay, the courses reviewed last fall, or I guess last summer, have been uploaded to the WECM as of yesterday, and we've had several delays with things at work and other excuses, but we try to get those updated as soon as WECM Advisory Committee approves them, and so we'll have a group of courses being reviewed for approval today, and our goal is to get those courses in within 2 weeks.
Wonderful. I appreciate everything that you do, Dwayne. It's an extremely challenging position that you have because you're a one-man show to put all that stuff in there, and we understand that. And so thank you for all your hard work, and I'm looking forward to seeing those updates. Thank you.
To give credit where credit is due, I'm actually a two-man show,
Oh,
one
okay.
man, one woman show, and I'd like to acknowledge Tanisha Shorter-Lott has been a big help in getting those courses updated.
Wonderful. I stand corrected.
Another comment or question?
Yes, Catherine O'Brien. Dr. Valera, in response to your question about how can it be helped, my recommendation would be that all members of the WECM Advisory Committee and the leadership of TASTE, TACRO, and TACTI all go through the FIT training so that they understand the process. And then there's that many more voices then that can explain the process and take it out to the state as a whole.
That's right, and it's a wonderful idea. And I remember we mentioned one time that we wanted to have also administrators from the CE side to the House, because it will helping us a lot. Because we have to keep in mind, especially CE, they are changing. They have the facility to change courses really fast, which one is not happening in the credit side. And I think so that one will be a wonderful idea for TASTE to attend these kind of courses, Catherine, because it will help us to join this effort that we wanted to try to do and accomplish this year. And my recommendation is from the TASTE members, please join these workshops, and then maybe to talk to the instructor from our institutions to join and to be part of this committee. That one is going to be a big asset to improve what we have and to check it out, what is right now outside from the industry, what they needed and what needs to be changed. Another question? Well, with no question, I would like to go to the break, 10 minutes, and then we're coming back in 10 minutes. Right now it's 11:11. We're coming back 11:21. Mindy. Go ahead. We're coming back again. We are coming back again. Right now it's 11/20/23. We're coming back again to the WECM subcommittee at Texas High Coordinated Board meeting. Item number 7, discussion of possible action or recommendation made by the course review subcommittee regarding WECM course revisions. Rhonda?
Okay, we're working on getting the agenda up, the agenda materials up for this meeting. That's right. Yeah. I'm sorry, Rhonda, are you able to present?
Yes, yes, I'm ready. I just didn't know if y'all were ready.
Okay.
Yes, I'm Rhonda Dozier, and I'm going to be presenting the information from the WECM Revision and Archival Subcommittee meeting. As you heard from Leslie, there were quite a few rubrics that were covered and some changes that probably needed to be re-looked at. And so one in particular, we sent back to the instructional specialist for review. And that one was the HALT economic entomology. And you can see in the notes below, they haven't pulled it up just yet, but in the notes below, the title did not coincide with the description. And so it was recommended that they change what they were saying a little bit and add the word entomology. Is that the right word? Yeah. Horticulture, I'm so sorry, horticulture to the title. They agreed to do that, and that's been suggested for change. And then also we reviewed FIT courses, ACGR courses, HALT courses, and the subcommittee approved all of those revisions with no changes, and all 3 of those areas. And just for a note, some of the contact hour ranges were adjusted. So that's something that everyone needs to pay attention to going forward. We also looked at landscape management, and of course, there were no recommended approvals for that course as well. Are there any questions?
Madam Chair. Rhonda, this is Jeff Parks. One question that I have is when you said the contact hour changes, can you give an example of where that happened at?
Oh, yes, and it's marked on the, it would be in most of those courses. So 128 to 144 or 160 were reduced. Most of them, the minimum contact hours, some of them were raised a little bit based on the requirement of a lab. And those are in the FIT courses for the lab increased hours.
Okay.
There were quite a few that the hours,
okay.
The maximum hours were reduced.
Thank you. Thank you. My colleagues are directing me to the ones that had that. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Another question for one of the members. Thank you, Rhonda, for the update.
Okay, so the subcommittee made several recommendations that are listed here in the minutes. I guess we need a motion to approve these recommendations.
I would like to have a motion to approve the recommendation from the subcommittee.
This is Gretchen Reel. I move approval.
Leslie Olson, I second.
All in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
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 Agenda item number 8, discussion and possible action or recommendation made by the WECM Comments Review Subcommittee regarding response to public comments.
Yes, this is Rob Blair with South Plains College. And the WECM Comments Subcommittee received 4 comments for the January 27th meeting. which resulted in 3 colleges requesting new courses in WECM inventory to replace local needs courses. Now, as we all know, adding new courses to the WECM inventory is an activity performed by instructional specialists during WECM workshops. Therefore, subcommittee's recommendation is colleges should continue to use local needs courses until appropriate WECM workshops are convened to address course concerns. Therefore, at this point, WECM Comment Subcommittee is recommending no action to WECM Advisory Committee. If additional numbers of local needs requests and related rubrics occur, then requests could possibly trigger a recommendation for future workshops. But at this point, no action is recommended.
Thank you, Bob. Do I have motion to approve? Or no changes?
Madam Chair, this is Jeff Parks. Motion to approve is presented.
Thank you so much. No changes this time for recommendation comments for the subcommittee to public comments. Item number 9, discussion and possible action or recommendation made by the special topics and local need courses review subcommittee regarding the review of the special courses.
Okay, and I'd like to draw your attention to, I think it'll be page 122 of the agenda. Okay, on the short agenda.
Dwayne, do you want me to do my side and then CE will do theirs?
Right. Page 20 of the short agenda. Right, that's it. This is the summary of special topics, local need courses reviewed at the AGCR workshop.
For the WECM AC members, you're looking at page 100 of your packet and page 121, and the overview of our meeting is on page 122. Specific to page 100, we have the committee approved and agreed from the workshop that all the majority of them will be left as local needs special topics. 3 were indicated by the instructional specialists and the facilitators that they did not meet the WECM guidelines. And then on page 121, again, majority were left as local needs special topics. 1 was referred to a new course and 1 does not meet it. And then if you'll look at the very, very bottom on page 123, you will see the new WECM course that came from the WECM workshop, Introduction to Sustainable Agriculture. Please note that the WECM subcommittee, this was originally submitted as just a 48-hour course, and the subcommittee adjusted it to make it 48 to 64-hour contact hour course.
I have motion to approve the changes.
Madam Chair, this is Jeff Parks. Motion to approve the changes as presented.
All in favor say aye.
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 Discussion, item number 10, discussion of the possible action or recommendation made by the WECM Protocols Review Subcommittee.
There were no recommendations made by the protocols subcommittee.
No protocols, no change this time. Item number 11. We are going now in our last part of our meeting where we are going to be all have a little discussion about the future meetings that we are going to have for the WECM subcommittee, for the WECM committee. Please, I don't know, how do you want it? Do you want it to set up by the end to this semester or the rest of the year or the next 2 meetings? I would like to see some recommendation. How do you want it to proceed?
Madam Chair, I'm sorry. I did intend to go over these subcommittee structures. This is on page 7 of the agenda. And as you look over these subcommittees and their membership and their duties, I'd like especially new members and even anybody who hasn't been assigned to a subcommittee yet or volunteered for a subcommittee yet to email me to let me know which subcommittee they would be interested in serving on. So we have the WECM Course Review Subcommittee. Again, these are the one responsible for review and final recommendations based on workshops or other subcommittee recommendations. And we have our membership there.
As a chair to the WECM committee, I'm sorry for interrupt you, Dwayne. I wanted to tell you that when and I'm going to tell my own experience. The first time I came here to the WECM, I don't have any idea what was WECM. And then what is helping me a lot, guys, especially the ones that are new members, the one they are new but not new, Jeffrey, maybe, and that one they have experience already. However, when I came here, I didn't know anything. I was feeling lost. And now I can tell you, you try to be part of one of the subcommittee. It's going to be a professional growth that you're going to have it. And then you're going to be the guru from your college. I wanted to say that one because nobody can know about what is WECM like you will be. I really, really, really encourage you for the new members to be part of this one subcommittee because we have many of the members in the WECM, they have been in many subcommittees, and then we wanted to transfer this acknowledge to you guys, the way in the future you are the one is going to be handle all these committee as a group and then to make many changes that is happening. I really recommend it to send an email to Dwayne, try to be in one or two committees. If you feel like maybe you don't know anything, guess what? You have in every single subcommittee a person that they know a lot and they are going to help you to have this knowledge. They are very willing to transfer the knowledge that they have it. Please try to be part of one of those subcommittees and send an email to Dwayne. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, to follow up on that, most of the work presented to this advisory committee is done by these subcommittees, and so we kind of go through them rather quickly during this meeting. But this represents 2 or 3 meetings during the quarter, during the time between the advisory committee meetings, that these subcommittees meet to discuss either workshop results or courses that have been submitted to the coordinating board or comments, for example. So this is a good way to find, the inner workings, I guess you would say, of the advisory committee. So as I mentioned, they had the course review subcommittee reviews the recommendations made by the workshops. They also recommend archiving courses that haven't been used in 5 years is kind of our standard, and recommend if new courses are needed to be written. A WECM Comments Committee, again, as Rob Blair reported, they talk about comments that are submitted through the WECM Comments link in our webpage. These come from the community colleges, and it's a way that the institutions can report changes that are needed, new occupations that are becoming more popular or that are coming up, and also, well, like I say, any changes, or if there are any changes in licensure or certification, then those can be submitted also through WECM Comments. And that subcommittee reviews those comments, and based on those comments, they can recommend that a workshop be held or that courses be changed if it's a minor change. We also have the special topics and local need course review subcommittees. We have one subcommittee for credit hour, special topics and local need courses, and one for CE. They're basically responsible for the review of all special topics, local need courses submitted by the colleges on a yearly basis. We try to break it up on a quarterly basis. And they review the recommendations made at the course review workshops when they review the special topics, local need courses. And on an annual basis, we usually look at maybe 2 years of courses that have been submitted to look for trends or any kind of multiple courses reported in the same area that might trigger a new course being written, or that might trigger a workshop to review those courses. Again, the non-credit special topics local need is headed by our TASE liaison, currently Conley Kelly, and the TASE leadership kind of takes a role in reviewing those. Again, if anybody on this subcommittee has expertise in continuing education, would like to be on that subcommittee, I'm sure Conley would welcome you to help out. Again, with some modern changes in the TASE leadership, Conley couldn't be here today, but I'm sure he'll be happy to have anyone serve on that subcommittee. Conley Kelly and the TASE leadership also review the professional development courses. These are courses in the WECM that are basically placeholders that colleges can use to offer professional development in different topics. If there are new areas or new disciplines that require professional development courses, and again, these are tied to licensure or certification mandatory CE requirements, then that subcommittee would be responsible for recommending the new courses be written. And last but not least, of course, is the WECM Protocols Subcommittee. These are I guess you'd say, the guardians of our protocols, and they review and make changes based on recommendations, either from advisory committee or coordinating board or WECM comments. If there's some changes that need to be made or clarifications, then they'll review these and try to tighten up the language or clarify the language in the protocols committee. So as I mentioned, anybody wants to be considered to serve on one of these subcommittees, just send me an email and we'll put you where you're needed. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And I just wanted to clarify, you're not going to be by yourself. Usually, Texas High Coordinator Board, Mindy teams always help us. Dwayne is an amazing helping us to go center and to focus what we have to do it. I mean, guys, it is kind of work, but it's the most important. It's going to be a professional growth, and it's going to help you a lot in your institutions to know what's happening in all Texas. I highly again to recommend it to be part of one of these subcommittees, which one is going to help you in the future. Thank you so much. And then now
Chair, I have one more comment. First, thank you very much for the kind comments on my previous history as far as with WECM. I appreciate that.
Okay.
But I want to say that I wouldn't be in this spot as far as having the background on WECM if it wasn't for two people that are currently serving on the committee that are still here, that are Robin Garrett and Catherine O'Brien. They very nicely took me under their wing and provided me guidance and helped me learn a lot about WECM, to the point that I was asked to serve in the role of overseeing WECM when it was still a leadership grant before it became a subcommittee for the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. So I got to say thank you to them because of their leadership and their support. And then I just had one other curiosity question of, in the past, and I'm not saying that's the correct way or anything, but in the past, we basically had a non-credit committee and a credit committee. And I see we have 3 committees. I just was wondering if there was a reason for that. Can anybody explain that? Well, there's the non-credit special topics, and then there's the credit special topics, and then there's the course review committee. And so typically it was credit and non-credit, and they reviewed all the courses in those particular areas. So I was just curious if anyone had it.
Yeah, I'm not, again, I can look it up, the history. Can't quite think of the history now, but again, these were written into the protocols when the advisory committee was formed. And so the revisions subcommittee was previously the revisions and archival subcommittee. And I think their main focus was to review the courses that have not been, every year to look at courses, the frequency data, and to see which courses had not been used over 5 years. And again, one of their duties was to review course review workshop recommendations, and somehow that duty kind of overshadowed all the other duties. So that's how it became the revisions subcommittee. But they kind of separated out the revisions from the special topics local need review.
Okay, thank you very much, Dwayne, for that clarification.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, Dwayne, at the time whenever there was a lot of focus on programs of study, that revisions subcommittee was reviewing what was happening in those programs of study meetings, because there was that was the link between programs of study, the changes that were made, and then before those were actually placed as changes in the WECM. That revision committee was there really to look at were those changes going to affect any other rubrics outside of what was being done in that PO and the programs of study meetings. And I think that's Dwayne, whenever the name that where it kind of switched over to the revisions part of that committee.
Okay, thank you very much. And I guess we all missed Don Perry in so many ways, because Don would be able to give the history to the minute, bless his heart, because Don would go, this is when it happened on this particular day. And I'd be like, I don't know how you remember that, Don. Thank you very much, Madam
But I
Chair.
can tell you that the subcommittee, and then I agree with Dwayne, that it was divided because we're overlapping with one duties and another duties. And then to be more clear and more clarified, that's what we decide to separate. And that one was happening, I don't know, but it was happening maybe 2 years ago. Another comment before we move to the next item? And I believe, Jeffrey, you already won in the subcommittees, right? Maybe we wanted to have in another subcommittee. No, yes, I just encourage everybody. I encourage Sarah. I don't want to point anybody, but yes, I encourage everybody. Well, let's go to move to the item number 11, discussion of the future meetings.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make, go ahead, Leslie.
My recommendation for future meetings is definitely after May. And more specifically, and I don't know, we may need to have one at least for time periods in between, but for our last subcommittee for this year, if we clear the May workshops and then give the subcommittees time, so that's May 24th, the subcommittees time to meet, that then would put us where we could approve everything in time to have it loaded into the portal for, of course, our September 1 date. But please keep in mind that would be a very intensive meeting because we'd have 18 possible rubrics that would have possible changes.
Yeah, and to clarify, we generally have a meeting in March or April. A meeting in April would cover the workshops from the courses from the February workshops. So I guess if we want to look at April first, April availability. And remind me, the TACD is the 29th through 31st of March?
March.
Right. So
14.
What about the week, the 17th to 21st, the way that we have that report for TACD and TASE, and then we can be able to review the first workshop of February, that way that we don't have too much work and long meeting on May.
So would April 21st work?
For me, sounds right. I don't know the rest.
Madam Chair, as we set these up, one recommendation, having been in charge of this, it is always a challenge with meeting times.
That's
and
right.
there is nothing that we can do to change that. But what I would recommend is we just set, because the way the protocols were put together was it was a quarterly meeting.
That's right.
And we set the meetings, we decide that these are the day that we'll have the meeting, and everybody makes the best effort to come if they can, and we move on. If we try to make it fit everybody's schedule, that's going to be extremely challenging. And then people can plan for it. And if it's important to them as it is important to me, I'll make time to make sure that I make the meeting. And so that's just a recommendation that I put out to the rest of the committee.
And I agree with you, but also, yes, for April 21st, that's because we wanted to have also, to have some kind of information from TASE. In this occasion is for TASE and tactic, the way that we have the inputs from them. And then also to have Leslie information from the subcommittee in February. You know, that one will help us, but yeah, that's right. It used to be like that. We pick it up 1 week. I said we always were looking that it was no graduation. That's it. I remember that. I said April 21st.
I have one comment. NAPE,
Yes.
the National Alliance for Partnership and Equity Summit is that week. So I don't know if that affects some people flying in on Friday, just so you know.
Madam Chair, if we are looking at a regular cycle kind of thing, April 27th
Is that the
would be the corresponding last Friday of the month for April. And, okay,
Oh, actually, the 28th is the Friday.
28th is Friday, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I guess let me put another recommendation for the 28th is that the 21st is a skeleton crew holiday. And although I'm sure I can be here, but I'm not sure we would have the technical assistance. Like we can't force them to come to work. So it might be better to have scheduled for the 28th. If,
1 day before and after, I don't think so make a big change. 28th, April 28th.
does anyone have any anything major that week or that day that would and
Be the same time frame, 10 to 1.
that's right, yes. And like Jeff said, as long as we can do a meeting invitation, and as long as we get a quorum that would be able to attend, and we can hold it on that at that time.
I don't want it to look like a monarchy person, but I agree with Jeffrey that we should to give it a date. I mean, this is the 27 or the 28, in this case, 1 day before and after, and then maybe we need to do the next one meeting. That way we have the next two meetings, right?
The recommendation I would have, Madam Chair, is that we set this date coming up in April, and then the most important party that is here would be the coordinating board. And so if we could get feedback from the coordinating board of these are the dates that we could hold the meetings every quarter and send that out to the committee and say, these will be the dates that we're looking at. Like I said, I think it comes down to people can attend or they can't attend. Everybody will have a reason. We can't fit everybody's calendar, and we just move on. That's my recommendation.
And let me add a comment here. We could certainly suggest on a quarterly basis what good meeting dates would be that do not conflict with anything the coordinating board is hosting or carrying on. I agree that it would be good for this committee to meet on a quarterly basis, maybe on a standard schedule, say, the fourth Thursday of every third month or something like that. We can study that, and we will be happy to come back to you with recommendations on that. With that said, acknowledgedly, it's always very difficult to get the entire committee here. As long as we can get a sufficient number of committee members here to have a quorum, and here means virtually and in person, we're able to conduct business. I think the most important thing is that this committee vigorously and regularly conduct its business. I have in my mind the 62% of jobs in the state that require some post-secondary training beyond high school, where that training comes from community colleges, from public sector to your colleges. WECM is a critical driver of what can be taught, what the specifics are, so on and so forth. It's important work. So let's see if we can work together to get ourselves a standard quarterly meeting regimen going. And then it would be predictable. You would know what to expect. Okay, we'll take that on.
Thank you, Mindy. And then we set up for April 28th, our next meeting from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock. So far away in the same site, unless that they moving us to the new beautiful site that I really want to see it and everybody wants to see and to use it. But so far away it's going to be here, and thank you so much, Grace, for letting to us to use these facilities. And then if no, we don't know where we are going to see them. But I know the High Coordinator Board will find it a place for us. I know they are doing an amazing job also. Thank you so much.
We are happy to oblige.
Thank you so much. I don't know, would you like to set up the next tentative meeting for the after April 28th, at least to have two?
Do you want to consider a meeting in June, committee?
I would like to recommend the last Friday of June, whatever that,
That'd be June 30th
or maybe
or 23rd.
yeah, either the 23rd or the 30th of June, which would put it
23rd.
after after the May meetings, so that we could approve and then still leave Dwayne and his team of his two-man team, a month to get things, or 2 months, I guess, to get things in by the end of August.
Okay.
That's right.
Would that work?
That works. Yeah, and then June 23 or June 30? Because even though if we do June 23, we are going to be a little phase, like 1, 2, 3, because we have a weekend. It's like one day. If we do 23rd, if we do the 30, we are going to be 2 days, right? Phase.
I would recommend maybe the 23rd, because the 30th gets close to July 4th, which is a holiday.
That's correct.
Right. So is anyone, another question, and I know we kind of talk about this each year, but in summer, some colleges are off on Fridays or closed on Fridays. Would that be a barrier for anyone attending the meeting on Friday, the 23rd?
No, that was much better because we have the time, and then the people wants to be here,
Right.
right?
Okay, so we'll, I guess, tentatively schedule the second meeting for June 23rd.
That's
Also
correct.
10 to 1.
That's correct. And then you wanted to set up another one, or yes, we set up these two?
I think these two would be,
These two, okay. And then motion to approve that these two tentative meetings. Do I have motion?
Madam Chair, a motion to approve the meetings as presented, and then I agree with what Mindy's saying as far as you guys look with it internally, and if you can come back with a recommendation, I think that'd be great. Thank you very much.
And I will second that with the tentative qualifier on it.
All in favor, please signify by aye.
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 Thank you so much. We agended this meeting at 11:57.
Motion to adjourn?
Okay, motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn today at 11:57 on, I forgot even that date, guys. Okay, January 27, 2023. Thank you so much. And for those that are joining on Zoom, thank you so much for being here. And we hope to see you soon, guys, face to face. Thank you.